this time around, over the weekend on Sunday, I had that same kind of feeling like, oh no, it might be too late. There's not that much time left. Trump has the momentum. And I thought, I reached for a seatbelt. I mean, buckle up, because I don't know if there's going to be impact, but there might be.
All right, guys, I don't know if you want to call this surprising or not. Frankly, you can interpret it in your own way, but I'm here to share with you today that Cenk Uygur over at TYT is now predicting that Trump is going to win the election. Is that a good thing for Trump? Is that cursing Trump? I have absolutely no idea, but we'll tell you what he said here today, folks. So do us a big favor. If you're enjoying the content, be sure to hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. And why should you subscribe? Because doing so goes a long way in ensuring we can keep bringing you these videos. We are almost exactly a week away from Election Day. There's never been a better time to support the work by hitting that red button down below. And with that said, okay, let's just show you what Cenk is now saying, and then I'll give you my thoughts on it. But here's what he tweeted out yesterday. He said, I've never seen so many contradictory numbers in one race. So we all have to Luke Skywalker this thing and rely on our own intuition. And here you go. He says it right here. My intuition is screaming that Trump is going to win. Now, we know Cenk Uygur is screaming about a lot of things constantly, but hey, he's screaming that Trump's going to win? I don't know. Very interesting to see. Here's his justification, essentially. He says, I had the same feeling of doom last Sunday that I had the weekend before the 2016 election. I think Trump's populism is going to beat Kamala's strategy of only using talking points. Hey, you know, that is a pretty valid reason in my opinion. He says her shift to corporate CEOs and Cheney support was disastrous, though no one in the mainstream media realizes it. So there you have it. Cenk Uygur's prediction based on his intuition is that Trump is going to win. Now, I have a prediction of my own because this is basically what Cenk always does in election cycles. We went back to try to see. So, back in 2016, he kind of makes it sound like now he correctly predicted that Trump was going to win. And there were moments where he said, hey, Trump might win. But Cenk at several different points pretty vehemently said that Hillary was going to win. Take a listen.
I'm calling it. Hillary Clinton, the winner of this presidential election. 3 weeks before the election, exactly 3 weeks, almost exactly. And before the third debate begins, it's about to begin as we do this live coverage, she's going to win the election. Now,
next thing you're going to tell me Shep Smith is...
Yeah, so like I said, I don't know if you want to use that as a good thing or bad thing that Cenk thinks Trump's going to win, although I think his reasons and justification do actually make a lot of sense. But my prediction for Cenk is that probably next weekend, at the very last minute, he's going to flip his prediction to Kamala. He's going to say, you know what? I changed my mind. We got this election. And then if Trump wins, he's going to go back and say he accurately predicted that Trump's going to win the 2016 election, because that's sort of the revisionist history he's been using on it now, and he did the same thing back with Alan Lichtman. But that said, okay, you know what? That's neither here nor there. This is what Cenk is currently saying, so we'll talk about it because it is recent, right? He also said back in September he thought Kamala was going to win. I don't know. He just flips back and forth, and then that way, if you predict that both candidates are going to win, you can't necessarily be wrong. But last weekend, talking about that moment of doom, here is Cenk going into more detail explaining why he thinks Trump has this election in the bag. At least, again, that's his quote-unquote intuition. All right, let's take a listen.
Win the election. And so people keep saying, Cenk, make a prediction. What is it? Well, it depends, guys. These predictions aren't just like, oh, this is what I feel. Oh, this is magic here, blah. I'm not a Swami. I look at the data, the facts, the science. I put it all together and then make a decision based on that. And right now,
again, okay, he's saying that now for credibility's sake. Watch. If Trump wins, he will say to all the other Democrats, I called it. I knew it was going to happen. But anyways.
Now I'm at a no decision. Okay, but I will tell you my gut for whatever it's worth. And I agree with Nate Silver that the guts aren't worth that much at this point. But over the weekend on Sunday, I had the same kind of doom feeling that came over me that I had the weekend before the 2016 election. So I tweeted about it in that weekend. At that point, Hillary had a big lead in the polls, but I wrote on social media and I shared it with you guys on the Young Turks on Monday. When? 6 o'clock Eastern, that's right. And I said, oh boy, guys, buckle up, brace for impact. I got a really bad feeling about this. And that bad feeling was not just, oh, it's coming from inside me, it's some mysterious force. No, it's a collection of all of the data and the anecdotes and everything else that goes into it. And the pattern of elections, not only in America, but worldwide, where people are voting for populists, people are voting for change. And I sensed that change was coming in 2016 and that the Democrats were not seeing it clearly. In 2020.
Again, a little contradictory because he said like 3 weeks before the election, Hillary's going to win. The election's over. Last minute, he says, wait, Trump might win. It's like, okay, it's like you're saying both things and then you're going to claim you were right either way. All right. But you know what? Okay. I keep saying that, whatever. Let's just hear what Cenk has to say about this.
I thought Biden was going to win, and I actually thought he was going to win easily. I was right about the popular vote, but I was not right about the Electoral College. He did not win easily in the Electoral College. And that shook me for how close that election was. And that was in terms of my faith in the polling. So finally, this time around, over the weekend on Sunday, I had that same kind of feeling like, oh no, it might be too late. There's not that much time left. Trump has the momentum. And I thought, I reached for a seatbelt. I mean, buckle up, because I don't know if there's going to be impact, but there might be. There really, really might be. So now that doesn't mean he's going to win. And Trump, guys, I know it's so hard for you to understand this, but just because your guy loses doesn't mean that people cheated. Like in your world, the country's 99% for Trump. And so obviously they had to cheat to win.
Okay, so here he goes. Here he goes again with the cope, but
so right now it's not clear that he's likely to win, by the way. It's at 55-45 in one direction. Even if it's 55-45 in terms of the odds in favor of Donald Trump, just like in 2016, he can lose, even though he's more likely to win according to the polling. So right now, it's not clear that he's likely to win, by the way. It's at 50-50. But even if you think that the polling shows that Trump's likely to win, he could still lose, just like Hillary Clinton did in 2016. So that is why this thing is nearly impossible to determine. But the reason I think that I had...
By the way, that's completely correct. Okay, this is a reason why Trump voters should have no reason to get complacent. All right, we should not have this mindset that we don't have to all go do our part because everyone needs to go vote. All right, polls do not decide elections. Elections decide elections. So go participate in that election. He is right about this. There's a lot of other coping and word salading going on about other things, but this is completely true. I'll give Cenk Uygur that.
That gut feeling is because at the end of the day, people really want change. And even though she's winning in some polls as the change candidate, barely hanging on there, her embrace of the establishment, her embrace of keeping things exactly as things are, and even the bipartisan embrace they think is helpful, but I don't think it is. I think what it does is it reminds people of the old so-called bipartisan days that they didn't like. Everybody in Washington loves the old bipartisan days. Everybody on television likes the old bipartisan days. But that didn't really work for the American people. That's why they voted against Hillary Clinton in 2016.
True.
That's why the last election was so close. And one last thing. So the Trump-backed candidates suck and they get annihilated in elections. But Trump constantly overperforms them. Why the difference? And nobody seems to be able to know. I have a theory on that, and I think this is a good theory. I think the difference is Trump seems like an authentic person. He isn't, but he has that appearance because he doesn't look like a robot. Right? He might be lying, but have the appearance of authenticity because he speaks like a normal person. Whereas all other politicians, even his MAGA guys that he endorsed, are robots. So they come out, I will take away all your rights. I am a black Nazi. And people are like, I don't like that. No, right? But when Trump comes out and goes, I don't know what the hell is going on. I'm going to try to figure it out with you guys. People like that. If you're a Democrat, you want to pull out all your hair and say, no, people don't like that because you don't like that. And I don't like that. but a lot of people do. And
yes, the one thing you can count on is that, especially with the white working class, those white non-college educated, low propensity voters, they don't turn out to go for most Republicans. But Trump is a little exceptional. He's a little different, and that makes a big difference, especially in the Rust Belt. So he is right about this.
So the one that appears more, and whereas Kamala Harris is more of a standard politician, let's be honest. That's why I think they should have used Tim Walz a lot more, because he doesn't seem like a standard politician. He seems like a regular person. He seems like a populist. The populist wins. Okay. So
I don't know about that.
If they vote based on change and they think she's a change of the old Trump and Biden years, great, then she'll win. Especially when you add in the senior citizens coming to her side, the abortion vote, some of the non-college educated white people now starting to go towards her. But if the populism holds, his usual overperformance of the polls holds, and the momentum of the polls holds, then Trump will win. So it's going to be amazing on election day. And if you hear anybody telling you they know for certain what's going to happen, don't believe the hype. They do not. So let's all find out together.
All right, so there you have it. Essentially, Cenk thinks Trump's going to win because he's the populist candidate, right? He's going to be perceived more as the change candidate. And I know Alan Lichtman has the 13 keys that he doesn't even know how to interpret because he's so insanely biased. But there's a lot of truth in that, right? Kamala, even if she's not Joe Biden, is still a pretty solid representation of the Biden years. She's part of the incumbent party. She was literally the VP. And people are not really happy with the state of the country. You know, you look at those opinion polls, overwhelmingly Americans say that America is not headed in the right direction. And a historical indicator is if that poll's very bad for you, then the incumbent party almost always loses the election. And, you know, if that holds once again, if Trump is seen as a breakup of the status quo for the past few years, which, you know, by definition he is, and basically anyone who has not been a part of this administration should be perceived as that, then the kind of common sense perspective is that he should win this election. We'll see what happens. Like I said, do not get complacent, but I figured I'd just share that all with you today. You can still imagine that even if Trump winning will not come as a surprise to Cenk, the election night meltdown, if Trump does win, and he wins on election night, assuming, right? Because that's also not really guaranteed. That's why you got to go vote. All right, make the margins overwhelming, but it'll still be a spectacle. All right, it'll still be a spectacle to say the least. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. For now, don't get complacent. Be sure you've casted your ballot already or you have a plan to do so. And yeah, let's do this. All right, with that said, let me know your thoughts. Be sure to leave a like on this video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. God bless and peace.